Hi, I'm Rochelle with Originally Worn, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to turn a hollow core door into a farmhouse-inspired door for under $10 for the whole door, both sides. So the first thing you're going to need to do is take your door off of the hinges and take your doorknob off if you are going to paint them. You can check out my other video on the YouTube channel on how to do that. If you're not going to paint your hinges, you don't need to take your door off to do this. So here is our door, and you can check over on our blog at originallywornonline.com of the different reasons why we ended up with what we did here. I would have loved to do like a full panel door with plywood or to do fancy trim on there, but various reasons that's not going to work. So what I ended up doing is trying to find the cheapest trim possible. So this is the trim I was able to get at Lowe's. This is actually lattice board trim. Now it's pretty rough and bad now, but you can break this down to about 17 cents a foot, which for trim is super cheap. So it comes in bundles at Lowe's, but you can buy it at individual strips at Menards. Either way, you'll take these apart and you'll need to sand each piece with a palm sander with a 40 grit sandpaper in it. So once you've done that, you'll get kind of like this kind of board, a nice smooth sanded piece of trim. The next step you want to do is figure out what type of panels you want and where you want to place them on the door. That way you can figure out what your trim measurements need to be. I'm not going to give you the exact measurements of the boards to cut since there's a million different sizes of doors, but I am going to tell you what I did to keep my doors consistent. So I'm going to drop in from 3 inches from the top, 3 inches from the side, 3 inches from this side. Then towards the bottom here, I'm actually going to come in and make this right here go 2.5 inches up from the center of the doorknob and 2.5 inches down. This will be where the second panel starts. And then I'm going to do on the bottom 6.5 inches up from the bottom. That being is because there's usually a little bit of a bigger kind of spot on the bottom. If you look at door trim, that's just typically what it is. So it'll look the most natural. So I've went ahead then and measured in like the 3 inches and the 3 inches. And you can see where I have these lines where they're crossed, which might be kind of hard to see in the video. And I have it down here. I'm going to measure from where this point is by the door handle all the way to this point at the top and make that the longest measurement on my piece of trim here. So this point is this measurement, and this point is the bottom measurement here towards my door handle. So you can see, obviously, I've already measured this one out and cut it. I cut it with a miter saw at a 45-degree angle there. So once you do that, you're going to go along, and I'm going to line mine up that I know is right here. And I can kind of use these lines, each point as my guide. And this trim certainly is not perfect. It's not meant to be. So, you know, this isn't going to be the most, might be some, it might kind of twist a little bit and stuff like that. If that bothers you, spring for the better trim, spring for the more expensive stuff. You can still do the same design, just with better stuff, but you know, it doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like old weird stuff. So I'm going to go along and cut each of my pieces and kind of frame out all of my spots and then tape them in place first. So once you have your trim pieces cut and I have them just taped in place for placement, you're going to take a caulk gun with some liquid nails in there and one at a time kind of pull a piece off And this is just like not any fancy tape. It's just regular old masking tape. And I just kind of tip it back, and you want to make an S pattern kind of down the back of your piece of board. And really make sure you like where your board's going to be, because this stuff's not going to be easy to come off. It might take your veneer of your panel door with it. I don't know. I haven't had it happen yet. So it's certainly kind of goobery and messy. And then you'll flip it back and kind of hit it back into place with your other pieces you have there. And then tape them back and go around and do that for each one while they're all still wet. That way, in case if you need to kind of adjust one, if they're all still wet, you can kind of push it and maneuver it and make it fit together a little bit better. Also, you're going to need to let all this liquid nails wood trim dry overnight then. After your liquid nails has dried, you could go ahead and paint, but if you want a really nice finished look, you'll take some paintable silicone here, and this is for all trim, and you can run a bead of it kind of down in there. I'm not the best caulker in the world here, but that's all right. So you kind of will run a bead on all the joints, and then I actually, sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand. Will take my finger and just kind of clean it back up like that. I'm sure there's a better way to do this. This is just how I do it. And then I'll take a paper towel and clean that up. It's paintable, but it does take a while to dry if you do not buy I think it's a 20-minute dry time. I didn't, and so I'll just let mine dry overnight. Once your caulk is dry, put a layer of Annie Sloan paint all over it for your primer. I'm using this because it really covers well. As you can see, this color is country gray, and it requires that I don't sand or do anything else to this surface. I can just straight over paint, and then it'll kind of blend this raw wood in with this kind of slick fake wood. The final step you're going to do is paint whatever you want your door color to be. I'm painting my whole door in a Sherwin-Williams color called Amazing Gray. Since the Annie Sloan paint grabs the latex paint so wonderfully, you usually only need one coat, but do 1 or 2 coats, let dry, and then reattach. Here you have the finished door all hung back up. It really was a quick and easy way to make these hollow core doors have a little bit more interest. Hope this video helped you. Be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Find us online on Facebook and www.originallywornonline.com. Happy painting!